All right. It looks like we are live now. Just making
Are we?
sure that everybody can see that. Let's see
We're
here.
live. We're live. We're
All
live.
right. Let's see if we are live. Yes,
Let's
we are.
go.
Okay. Make sure that.
Love it.
Let's see here.
Don't mind
Making
me. I'm
sure.
just
Oh, you're
some
fine.
Golden
First,
Girls coffee right now. If you can tell by my coffee mug,
yes.
I'm just I had to get some coffee in my system.
Yeah, no problem. Just
Wanted to be
making sure
alive
the
and
little
work for you,
thing.
brother.
Yep. And see, making sure everything is good before we get into it here. Let's see. Fuel sports. All right. Just making sure. Just making sure that it is. Yep. Set to public. Okay. Cool.
Awesome.
All right. So now, usually with the lives, just usually take the first 5 minutes just to get everything set up, get everybody on and stuff. So
Of
there we go.
course.
So should be. Yeah. So there. Okay. Cool. We're there. All right. And let me just share that link, and then we'll be good to go.
Awesome. I love it.
Let's see. Where are we? Okay. And share. Okay. Just gonna put we. Yeah, two people are messaging me, so they're like, I think I have the wrong link. So
Oh no.
okay, so here we are live and good to go. Okay. So can you peek while we're doing it? Can you just peek on your end, just on YouTube, that you could see? Because I saw you're subscribed and everything. If you could just make sure you're seeing it on your end.
Wait, I don't know if I can.
Okay, let me see. I'm just logging into a different so I can see on my end just to make sure. Okay.
Hold on. Just, I'm on a phone right now, and I'm trying to use it as best as I possibly can.
Gotcha.
Let me just go look.
Yep, looks like we are. Yep, we're on. Okay. Everything's good to go. Okay. Somebody commented we're good to go. Okay. All right. Well, so we'll just give another minute here and then we'll get started just because I just shared it. So I want to make sure. Those of you just joining us, thank you guys so much. We're excited for this live here tonight. Just just wanted to say to see where we were just a couple weeks ago. Slow starters in the 100 to 200 range with subscribers. Now, almost by the end of this week, almost at 900 subscribers. It's just awesome to see. Thank you guys so much for being patient with us. As you know, we have done so many of these the recording podcasts, so we're new to the live game, and so we're
You're good.
excited and we're kind of learning as we go. But thank you all
We
so
are.
much.
We are.
Yes, learning as we go. And thank you guys. See some comments coming through. We appreciate that. Definitely want to keep that going on. So we will go ahead and get started, and people will continue to join as they see the link. So let me get in there. So thank you guys so much. Welcome to the Around the Ballpark podcast. My name is Mike Redmond. I am your host, I should say, riding solo tonight as my brother's got some personal matters to attend to. With that said, tonight we're going to have some fun. We have along with us ALW superstar, Atomic Legacy Wrestling, Jerry Swirlz. Thank you so much for being with us tonight on the podcast. And those that may not know you, if you can just take a quick minute, introduce yourself, who you are, and where you're from, what you do.
All right. Thank you, Mike. I am the Golden Girls' favorite. I am the cream cheese eating, turn them around, inside and out, cheesecake loving favorite. Jerry Swirlz. I am the 15 time, gosh, I can't even remember how many times I've held the Atomic Legacy Wrestling Hardcore Championship, former 2 time ALW Tag Team Champion, also won some few other championships for other promotions as well. I've been in the ring with the likes of Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner, Hornswoggle, the Colognes, Epico, and Primo. I've pretty much had a whole plethora of people, like of different shapes and sizes, as well as people that may or may not really look at and think, can Jerry Schwartz really handle himself in the ring? Yeah, damn right I can, because every one of them have bowed down to this ass. I don't know if we can curse or not, so I want to try and censor myself or not. I want to make sure. Can we curse? Can we curse on here? Can
I
we
mean,
actually do that?
I prefer not to, but
Okay.
if one slips here and
No, no, no,
there,
no, no.
there's grace. But
Oh,
yes,
this is your
so
show. I want to keep it professional. I want to keep it modern. So we're gonna say it's some of this right here.
gotcha.
So
Yes,
there we go.
and
I will be perfect for you, sir. I promise.
that's
I'm
all
an
right. I
easy
appreciate.
person.
I appreciate it. So I'm looking forward to kind of getting in there and so much to talk about, but I can't do that first. We remissed to thank our sponsor, Nashville Tax Solutions. Thank you guys so much. In the heart of Palm Bay, Florida, where the ocean meets the sky, there's a place where tax worries meet their end. Whether you need to file years of missing returns, a current year return, or you need relief from a tax lien or levy, Nashville Tax Solutions has the solution for you. Introducing Nashville Tax Solutions, your trusted partner in the tax resolution industry. At Nashville Tax Solutions, we understand the stress and confusion and that tax problems can bring. That's why we're here to offer clarity, relief, and peace of mind. The expert team here at Nashville Tax Solutions are dedicated to providing personalized solutions tailored to your new unique situation. Next, just a few things that some people have been saying about Nashville Tax Solutions. They saved themselves from a financial nightmare. They're not just experts in tax resolution, they're compassionate too. So don't let tax problems weigh you down. Contact Nashville Tax Solutions today and let them guide you toward a brighter financial future. Call Nashville Tax Solutions today, 615 502 2250. Check out their website, nashvilletaxsolutions.com, or send an email to info@nashvilletaxsolutions.com, where tax resolution is achieved. But don't do any of that right now, because right now we are on the podcast with Jerry Swirlz. We'll do that tomorrow morning. That's what Friday's for. So right now we're going to get into the good stuff. So Jerry, my very first question is just, I know my own personal story, but how did your love of professional wrestling begin? What age were you at, and when did you know that this was something that you wanted to make part of your life?
Thank you so much for asking that question. My very first influence of professional wrestling was, I think it's the old trope, me and my father. He used to be a big wrestling fan back in the 90s, and actually even going back as far as like the Jim Crockett promotions with Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, Buddy Landel. Um, and when I was born, I remember like the very first visual of me watching professional wrestling involved badass Billy Gunn, and I believe it was, oh god, Jamie. No, I think it was him and Jamie Noble at the time,
Jamie
and this was
Noble.
like in 2004. Yes, Jamie Noble. I remember like I was so enamored with Billy Gunn. I remember like seeing how his walk, his mannerisms, his physique alone is incredible. It's one of those things that you look at and it's like, my goodness, this dude is someone special. I'm like, what is this stuff? Um, I mean, my dad even like saw me watching it. I remember like it was an episode of SmackDown. It had Billy Kimmon and Paul London. I can't remember what episode it was. I think it was the Royal Rumble one, the Royal 50-man Royal Rumble, where they had to determine a number one contender
That's right.
for the WWE
Yes.
Championship. That was the one that I first watched. I remember Rikishi was on there, Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, and there's just such a plethora of people. Like I grew up in the ruthless aggression era when it first, I think encapsulated. I think it was like many people look back on it now with a lot of respect. I mean, even my opinion, it's one of the best eras that I got to watch. I mean, you got to see John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista, Triple H, Shawn Michaels. And I remember watching on the Raw side too, Triple H and Shawn Michaels, seeing their rivalry play out.
So good.
One of the
Yeah.
best.
Yes. So
One of
good.
the best.
Yep.
I think that's where my love of professional wrestling started. And like I kind of, as I got older with time, I started to watch it more. And like, I'm already getting up in the age of like, graduating high school at this point,
Right.
and I'm thinking to myself, man, like there's so many options I could do, but I was just always at that point in my life where I could do this avenue. My dad wants me to do this avenue. My grandfather wants me to do this. A lot of people are doing this. It's like, well, what do I want to do? I never
Hmm.
really got that chance to really sit back and think about my future. As like, I remember it was the second to last day of school, and I was in my math class, and I remember like I was on YouTube. I mean, we were on computers at this point. We were already done with schoolwork and stuff. And I remember like I was just watching YouTube. I was just watching these old wrestling clips and like watching it back because my graduation year was 2017, and wrestling at that time was kind of on a boom period.
Right.
Especially that little hot moment. I want to say not like it is now, but I remember watching those clips, and I just remember thinking to myself, "Well, how hard is it to do?" You know, and there was a this is actually going to be interesting that you bring up ALW. When it was under a different name, Atomic Wrestling, back in 2017, I remember going to a show, and I remember seeing Adam Rose, CJ O'Doyle, and Axe Clover in a triple threat match to crown the heavyweight champion. Adam Rose won that night, and seeing Adam Rose in person was kind of a cool moment because you don't really get a chance to see stars like at that
Right up
time. I
there.
didn't think it was possible. It was hard to really see
Yeah, and
because
and
you
a
don't
side
really.
note with him too, isn't it cool to when you kind of go back and you kind of freeze frame some of his appearances and you had all the rosebuds, like how many of those people turned out to be somebody in some capacity? It was they didn't just kind of fade away. There were so many so many of them. So I just figured I'd share that. But
Oh,
continue what
absolutely.
you're yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say absolutely. I mean, you could think of so many people that became rosebuds. I mean, Braun Strowman, Simon Gotch, who actually is on Atomic right now as we speak, which is kind of cool to actually say that I actually hang and share a locker room with a rosebud. So that's kind of cool to me. But after I saw that triple threat match with Adam Rose, I just remember like everybody just like swarmed him and like was just so enamored with him. And then I was like, I'm hooked. Like, and then it took me one more show at Atomic, believe it or not, because I started out as a fan in the crowd. Not many people really know that. I started out as a fan for Atomic Legacy Wrestling, which back then was known as Atomic Wrestling. And I remember sitting there and I remember watching the whole show. I was like, wow, it's right here in the palm of my hands. It's like right there. And because I found out from somebody, a reliable source, that there was a school in Orlando, and it was one of those things where, okay, I can do two things. I could always sit back here, enjoy it, think about it, and just ponder like maybe this might just be the thing for me that I'll just enjoy watching. Or
Right.
I can actually go behind get step off this barricade, actually go through those ropes, go through the training because it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. And I can actually try. I can actually try to put my body on the line. It's a risk, but it's worth the reward. So I did that. I found out a school, and I even found a better school within pro wrestling called Pro Wrestling 2.0 with the Pug Porto. I trained under
Mhm.
the likes of his guidance, and the rest is pretty much history.
That's and thanks for sharing that. And you know, you mentioned ALW. Let's kind of dive into that a little bit. So, for years, I've been following. Those that may not know, just a plug for Alex Red here for just a moment. There's so many that go in behind the scenes, but what Alex does, like I feel like he has like a sec. Those that don't know him, he promotes ALW all the time. I feel like if he has a second of free time, his first thought is, I got to go on Facebook and I got to mention some match that's coming up. I got to plug something. I got to remind everybody that there's this many tickets left on sale before it goes out. Um, whether he's going to TNA and he's dropping the flyers here, he's dropping them there. I don't know if there's anyone that works as hard as he does to promote what he does because he believes in the product. And the one thing I took away, and I'm just going to be transparent with you, Jerry, having attended the We Wear the Crown show just a couple of weeks ago, you go into it seeing this guy's here, Cameron Grimes is here, Joe Hendry is here, there's a couple others as well, Jack Swagger and whatnot. But I went home saying that the people whose name that were resonating in my head were none of those stars. As awesome as that was to see, it what I love so much about the entire show from start to finish was the amount of dedication and passion that the ALW roster itself had. And that's what I went home with. It wasn't, yes, it was nice to see this guy up close and this one, but just from your opening, you had like a mini dark match before the show went live. And then you came back again for a promo, and then you came back again for a match. And just the energy you brought each and every time was just an awesome experience that you don't often get. There really was no dead air or dead time between matches. An intermission was amazing. But you mentioned watching a show as a fan, and that was one of the things. Just sitting in the crowd that night, just looking around, like for example, Izzy Moreno sitting 2 rows behind, just her best friend from wherever came and watched her. And instead of being in the back the whole time, she stayed out there a couple matches, talked to her friend before she. I mean, I guess she knew she was going to be on later in the evening, but it was just an awesome experience. And to get that entire room at the Space Coast Convention Center was just awesome. And I'm just glad I finally got to attend in person. But talk a little bit about that night before we get into the upcoming event. But We Wear the Crown specifically. It was such a unique show for so many reasons, not just the talent that was being brought in, but we had, of course, honoring the life of a fallen co-worker as well. Just the most amount of tickets, the biggest, I guess, gate that you've had for an ALW show. So just kind of dive into that, the significance of that show, if you wouldn't mind.
Thank you. Now, the significance of that show, I mean, you already said it yourself. Like, you had names like Joe Hendry, who's one of, if not the most talked about names right now in wrestling in general. I was going to say the Indies. I'm like, no, he's doing more than the
Yeah.
Indies. It's just he is everywhere. No matter where you go, you say his name and he will appear. Jake Hager. I actually got to talk to him a little bit. Jake Hager. Wow. Like, I always saw Jake Hager as a kid. When I was younger and I didn't know any better about the business, like I always saw him as that annoying, happy-go-lucky, goofy guy who just he feels like a jock. He looks like a jock,
Yeah.
right? You would think that, but then over time, as I got into the business, and the more like, because I always saw him every now and then on independent shows. I remember when he first got released from WWE, he was on MLW. Not many people
Mhm.
remember that, but he was in MLW with I think Tennessee Lee and the Stud Stable with
Mhm.
the Dirty Blondes. He seemed pretty cool, but then once he got out of it, once he went to AEW and he got out of AEW to come to ALW, I got to talk with him a little bit. He is wow, super nice. Like he is so humble, so cool. Like I just reading his aura, listening to him, his words, his knowledge. It's amazing. Like shout out to Jake Hager. You might
Yeah.
not remember me, but I'm Jerry Swirlz. Hopefully we can tie it up one night, man.
Right. And seeing the
I
from
will.
my vantage point too, seeing the amount of purple hats was awesome sight to see as well throughout throughout the
Yeah,
building. That was great. Yes. Yep.
for a guy that's a fan
Uh,
of the color purple, he's already good in my heart. So maybe one day we could be tagged, so I can help you take on Brothers Mountain, brother. Trust me, I know a
yep.
thing or two about them. But
Yeah.
back to the back to the show itself. It was probably one of the toughest shows I've ever had to go through emotionally. Many people don't know this, but RPJ Ramon, who was only 21 years of age, passed away, and I'm sorry, he's just he's like he was literally my little brother. Our first time we met was in 2020. We actually my first time in he was trained under the Wild Samoans, who as well as we did for off of the Wild Samoan. He
Mhm.
trained under WXW, and he only had like maybe one or two matches. I had the privilege, the blessing to actually work with this kid and actually like see what he's capable of. And like I could see where we both were in our careers at the time. We were both very nervous, but the moment it was from start to go, and I don't mean to pull the curtain back here a little bit, but that so much fire, so much, so much passion. As much as I have, it's
Yep.
incredible, and it's like to know how much of a relationship we would have going forward. Like every day, he would try to message me. Every day, he would always. I talk with his family too. I don't mean to ramble about him a little bit, but he's
Oh
really
no,
like somebody
please
that
do.
was
Yeah.
near and dear to me.
Mhm.
I think that he will be remembered and he will always be honored. 'Cause I remember like when I first heard the news, I broke down. I broke down because I'm not going to get into the details of what he died of or anything like that. That's none of my business to come into. But to die at such a young age and like just to feel that atmosphere and that in that crowd, like it was hard. It was hard to get through. Like I actually hesitated to go out for the 10 bell salute. Like I was very hesitant because that one hit hard. I've done a lot of 10 bell salutes, but
That
this
one
one was
hit. Yeah.
probably the hardest.
You
But
mentioned you mentioned the age, 21 years old. That makes it sting just that much more, for sure. Um, and the word you mentioned, passion, and that's something for about some buddies of mine that have been able to go and take the grandkids, take the family to some recent shows. That's the word that they use to describe him. Oh, you got to see this kid, the passion. You got to see this kid, the passion. So you hit it the nail right head on that with him, and obviously from start to finish, you guys did him so proud that night. And to see the family in attendance, just 2 rows in front where we were, that was awesome to see them there supporting and everybody lifting them up. And I imagine that was a very, as much as it was difficult night um, for them, it was for each and every one of you guys around that 10 bell salute. And I'm sure to be the first match right after that too. Um, it's you get in there, the adrenaline kicks in, but then the reality sits in after. And I was just glad to be a small part of that night, just witnessing the awesome reaction and support from all the people in attendance. It was awesome to see for sure, and really was from start to finish. Starting with that, honoring his life, but start to finish. I mean, the amount of things that we got to see. Maybe someone that hadn't been to a show there before. You see someone's head get shaved that night
yeah,
in the ring. Didn't expect it to happen that quickly. It was just, yep, nope, it's gonna happen. Okay. And shout out to Greg. And then also, but now one thing I do got to ask. So obviously you started off the night with the dark match, and then you came out and did a,
mhm,
a promo and for a tag team match later that evening. But one thing I do have to ask you. So you had the tag team match, you and El Ridiculoso, right? And everything's going good, crowd's into it, and everyone's got the vibes going and everything like that. And then all of a sudden, like things were great, and then they seem to go off the rails just a little bit. Um, you know, did touch the wig and something went on there. I don't know. I was just for a second there, I was just like I was in it and I was like, I don't know what's going on here. Any thoughts on that? Because I was a little bit I do gotta ask because you're here, I gotta ask you that question.
well, first off, I'm gonna say like I don't remember the ending of the match, but I do remember me and El Ridiculoso did team up in the match, and
Right.
there was
Mhm.
I get there was a part where he went under the ring skirts, lifted them up, and he saw a wig that I have no idea what he's talking about. I have absolutely little to do with that Inner Betty. Listen, Inner Betty White died. Point plain and simple. Inner Betty White was a character that is a brainchild of mine that I competed in this anything goes purge match with a certain individual that's no longer with us anymore. And I remember this character in my mind because I watched Golden Girls, and I remember thinking, "This is who I am. This is the soul of Inner Betty. The Inner Betty's coming out." And it's hard to really control something like that. So I put it away in lock and key because she is capable of a lot of evil things. So for somebody to pull a prank like that on my dude and hide a wig under there to just confuse him for whatever reason, that's ridiculous because I remember I disregarded that wig. I didn't want any part of that anymore. I didn't want that. So I tagged our Ridiculosio, and he was fired up. He was a house of fire, and it looked like for
Yes,
a
that's what.
split second we were going to win the tag titles. But then the moment we were about to whip the ball line into each other, we got whipped reverse into each other, but we stopped each other because we knew we thought like minded, like tag partners always do. We know not to hurt each other, and I knew that. And then in that moment, I blacked out. I
Yeah,
literally blacked out. So I don't know what you're talking. I don't know what. I don't know why people are accusing me of saying that I betrayed my tag team partner or that he's not your he I'm acting not I'm in the wrong for doing what I did. And it's just it baffles me and it kind of upsets me knowing that El Ridiculosio is going online now and he's blocking me on social media. He's blocking
ooh,
me on my phone number. He's literally just trying to delete everything that he and I have worked hard for. As a matter of fact, I don't think you know this or not, but when he first came into Atomic, I was his first opponent. I put him on the map. I was the one that made him a star that night. I was the guy that made sure he always had a dude by his side.
so what you're
Even when
saying
things were
is
rough.
so what you're saying is you gave him an opportunity. Is that what
Yes,
happened?
I'm the one
Yeah,
that gave him an opportunity. I kicked the door
good to
open
yeah,
for us. Our
okay,
first night as a team, we got to fight for the tag titles. And
mhm,
now all of a sudden he's willing to throw literally we went on a chase for the tag titles. We went through La Sangre, we went through Shark Boy and the Cheese. Heck, we even wrestled the Crazy Bastards like on more than one occasion for the tag team titles. In fact, we were the rightful ALW tag team champions before we became the official ALW tag team champions. So he wants to go behind my back, and I didn't complain when he got and left me high and dry while I was out injured with a new tag team partner. You see my
you know.
problem here?
Yeah, I do, and I think I think the sources that I had that gave me that information, I just gotta check with them because that doesn't seem right. I think you're pretty much spot on and exactly right. And we're gonna have El Ridiculoso on week from tonight live, and
Oh,
I'm sure we'll just you'll agree to that it happened exactly as you said, and everything will be just fine. I mean that's what I think is gonna happen at least. But
exactly.
um,
You just
yeah,
said it. Everything is going to be fine because guess what? El Ridiculosio, I hope you're watching this because I wish you nothing but the best of luck in your match against Simon Gotch, but I'm not going to be a lumberjack on that night. I won't. I refuse to because right now, I think you're not in the right frame of mind. I mean, your name says it itself, El Ridiculosio. So good luck, dude. Just good luck.
yeah. Good luck, and you as well. You have a big match with Mikey Mondo on that evening, September 26th, Thursday night. Come on out, Space Coast Convention Center. It's going to be an awesome show. But so, just a little bit of thoughts on that because we heard the rumblings. It was a former WWE World Tag Team Champion, and we didn't quite know who it was going to be. Name gets dropped, and then the first match announcement, bam, Jerry Swirlz, Mikey Mondo. Excited to see that. So. I think we already know the outcome of that match, but those that may be a little thick-headed, may not understand, tell us what's going to happen.
Let me tell you exactly what's going to happen. Mikey Mondo, I hope you're watching this too. You know how in that little introduction where they say, Kenny, Nikki, Mitch, who sucks? It has your name at the end, Mikey. That's what you are. You're at the end. You're at the end of your career. You're at the tail end of your little legacy that you have in the professional wrestling industry, in the professional wrestling sport. And the Golden Girls' favorite, Cherry Swirls, is going to have all four of his Golden Girls in his corner. And Mike Mondo at ALW's Next Level show, September 26th on Thursday, get ready for the cream cheese pounding, cheesecake pan smashing, butt whipping you're going to get on that very night. Mike Mondo, I respect you for everything that you've done in this industry, which hasn't really a lot to say, to be honest with you. I mean, let's be real. You pinned the Big Show. You were in the ring with Kane, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and let's put it like this: what happened in all those matches you were in? You lost, and you're gonna lose on this night. You were going to lose to the Golden Girls' favorite, Jerry Swirls, September 26th. and I hope you've got a lot of energy to you want to give me a reality check? I saw your little reel. You want to give me a reality check? I'm going to give you a little swirl all around the Space Coast Convention Center.
Yes, and that
Let's
will
do it.
happen exactly as you said it. But the good news for Mikey Mondo is after that defeat, they feed you really well there at the Space Coast Convention Center. They had some ravioli that was just so good.
Oh,
So after the match, no big deal. There's no shame in defeat for him. He can make his way right there at concession and have himself a nice little meal. Be good to go. It was, but and I joke a little bit, but if we could, before I've got one or two other questions before we wrap things up here, but those
go
that
ahead.
have not been to an ALW show, um, you go expecting you're going to see them, but it was more than just the matches in the ring. There were a couple vignettes in the ring as well, but the experience around. I mean, the vendors there as well. Intermission, almost the entire locker room empties and has can be signatures, photographs, all that stuff. Just if you wouldn't mind just kind of sharing someone that has not been, that may be thinking of attending for the first time on September 26th, what they're in for.
Let me tell you what you're in for September 26th. For ALW's Next Level show, you're in for a treat because we are showcasing the future of professional wrestling, legacy wrestling. We have young, up and coming rising stars like our ALW Next Level champion, Ariel Dominguez. We've also got talent that you probably never even heard of. I mean, you have Madison Blake from Shake and Bake, who teamed up for a little while. Now she's doing her own little thing. You have so many talent that I think you've never really seen before or aren't getting a chance to see. And you've also got your homegrown roster, the Ariel Dominguez's, your Jerry Swirlz, Ridiculosios, your Simon Gotches. You're having a lot of those people that are going to give you the life of opportunity. And we're easy to talk to. Maybe not over Ridiculosio, but you can come talk to me. I have a merch table. They have merch tables. We're all there hanging around, laughing, talking, having a good time. We talk more about just wrestling. Like I like talking about TV. I love watching movies and television. Like, I am a sucker for the Golden Girls show. So give me your best Golden Girl questions. And I'm also a fan of Two and a Half Men. I'm actually getting a little bit of a soft spot for it again. So call me crazy, but Charlie Sheen is the man. No, not really. Charlie Harper, not Charlie Sheen. Sorry. Excuse me.
Are
Can't
you a
confuse the character
Seinfeld?
for the person.
Are you a Seinfeld friend, fan at all?
Yes, I love
A little bit.
Seinfeld.
We had
Jerry
so
Sein.
with our channel here at Around the Ballpark. Typically, a lot of times we do have baseball related podcasts, but we love to do specialty episodes such as this one. Because on our
Ooh,
way to the ballpark, we talk about other things, right? And so thus we're having this conversation tonight. But we were fortunate a couple episodes ago. We had a podcaster, Seinfeld Scholars, on, and we focused on baseball related Seinfeld episodes, which there's so many good ones. There were over 20
oh my
in there.
gosh.
Such a good time. We're gonna have him on again. You forget like how much good stuff is in there. All those characters on that show. But you mentioned TV, so I had to bring that up. But before I get to my final two questions here, before I wrap up, you mentioned Ariel Dominguez, and I want to make sure everyone that's watching this knows. Me personally, I see Ariel come out and he's facing the bigger guy. He's facing Trevor Lee, right? But I was so enamored by the way that match played out because it was just he could do. He's got the speed. He can do the things you would think that he could do, but he proved anyone that thought maybe he was like just stuck in this one niche proved everybody wrong that evening. Such an awesome match, start to finish, had the crowd enamored. Such a talent. And so that's why I say, I really believe what I said is, going home, it was the ALW stars that have been putting the work in each and every month. That you really went home like, wow, this is who I want to come back and see. It's a bonus if so and so is coming in from wherever, but these are the guys, these are the girls that I'm coming to see when I come see an ALW show. So that's a shout out to you guys for just continuing to do what you do. And you have the best, Alex, just pushing for you guys each and every month. So one fun question I have here, so if you could put together like a dream indie show, right? So you don't have to give an
Okay.
entire card, but not a show where you're picking a dream match between, the Roman Reigns against Cody. I'm talking if you could take two or three of the most talented indie um, talent that you have been in the ring with or have gotten to know up against someone maybe a little bit more well known. If you could pick a couple
Okay.
matches that you would put on that card, what would you say?
Okay, so I'm going to give you my top three matches. I'm going to give you my opener, my women's match, and I'm going to give you the main events. The opening match is going to be Slade Porter and Arez Perez against. This is a tag match, so you got the detective and you've got the suave of Puerto Rico with Albert in his corner, Arez Perez, and they're going to be taking on this unique tag team. I gotta say, it's only been done once. They're going to be taking on, and I'm going to be mad about this too. They're going to be taking on Paul White, formerly known as the Big Show, and Badass Billy Gunn, the Shoguns, and they're going to be a tag team known as the Detective, the Suave Detectives.
Well, they
That be
detective.
a tag
Okay.
match. The Suave
Okay.
Detectives. We can get them as a team, maybe. Hopefully, who knows? Then you got the girls match, which this one is. The more I think about it, this one actually makes a little bit of sense. So I'm going to give you my established name, Renee Michelle. She's been all over the world. She's traveled everywhere, been in WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor. She's done it all. AEW as well. And I would put her in the ring against. Are you ready for this? Let me see. I would put her in the ring against. This is somebody who I don't really get a chance to really see anymore, hang out with. Casey Lennox. I would put
Oh,
her
I
in the
like
ring
it.
against Casey
Okay.
Lennox. Yes,
Okay.
it'd be a
Yeah.
different. It's a different contrast of style. We just recently had Casey Lennox back in ALW. She hasn't
Hmm.
been there since 6 years, and she's been out and about, going on the indies and stuff. Renee Michelle being the established name, of course. But put these two in the ring together, you're about to get a sauce of a match, right, as the
That's
kids call it nowadays, right? And then for our main event, this is future booking. I'm just putting this out there right now. The aerial dynamic dudes, or the dynamic aerial dudes, excuse me, I butchered that one. It's going to be myself, Ariel Dominguez, and El Ridiculosio as we take on the Undisputed Kingdoms, Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, and Roderick Strong in the main event.
in the main event. So I was sold before you got to the main event, but um I love it. Like that and that's what I was that's hope that was kind of the answer I was looking for, is something outside the box there and that makes you go, "Oh, you know what? Like, yeah, that would be tremendous." And awesome. Awesome answers there. Um and I think if I had to just one off the cuff, it's funny you did. I would do the same 3-person team that you just mentioned from the ALW side, and I would like to see them up against the Undisputed Era. Um, you know, take any three of the
Yeah,
four that you wish. That's what I would love to see. So, with that said, my
love
very
it.
last question that I have tonight. So often, we always say, "Oh, who's your dream opponent?" or "Who do you fancy yourself as?" But having seen you live in person and followed even the shows that I haven't been able to attend, I say this not just because you're here on the show, but I feel like you are too unique for that question. Like you, you found your voice, you found your character, and I don't think there's anyone that you're aspiring to be per se, because you are that person already. And so for those maybe watching, how did you find your voice and your character in the business? Because there's really no other like it, in my personal opinion.
Thank you so much. That really means a lot, Mike. Wow, like, yeah, I've never been hit with that before. Um, finding my voice, I guess you could say, like, I did a lot of things that I didn't want to do. That was an old saying that was told to me. There's actually another old saying, and I'm going to use his name a little bit. CJ O'Doyle taught me this recently. You teach execution, but you can't teach effort. I put in effort. I put in time. I put in hard work. I put in so many hours, days, years into this. I have wanted to be something apart from everybody else. I have wanted to aspire to dream bigger. Like, some people are content with being on the indie. Some people are content being signed to a contract. Honestly, for me, I want to have to do above all that. Like, I'm more or less a guy that's like in the moment of like, okay, I'm here now. What can we do? What do I need to do to get here? What do they want me to do to get there? It's really just, I look at myself, I always have been given challenges, and that's off the Jerry Swirlz character. This is actually talking about the real person behind him, Tim. I've been somebody who has always been given a challenge. At first, he throws his hair, twirls his hair, does whatever, and it's like, oh my god, how am I going to get there? But pressure has always been my key. I thrive for pressure. I thrive for the endurance. I used to think I was not good enough, actually. At points in times, I was low, and then lo and behold, a beautiful woman, my girlfriend, Rosanna Sarnane, which you can check out her Instagram page, Mexicana Sugar. She's a pastry chef. She has amazing treats. She reminded me of who I am while I was out injured. She gave me something to fight for. That's what I live for. That's where I find my
Yeah.
voice. That's where I found that voice. Finally finding that person that could just balance my life, that can give me that confidence, to give me that thing that I've been searching for, to keep pushing myself to limits that I've never seen before. Sometimes we all fall off. We all fall off in life. I got injured for the first time. It's never happened to me before. And it was hard. It was hard to really bounce back from that. But then one day scrolling through Instagram, off the cuff, seeing this page where it was a cookie of a wrestler who I if I give him his name, then he's gonna have to wet us because he's an officially licensed wetter. I think you know who I'm talking about here. I saw that and I thought about that cookie. It just clicked to me. And then originally I reached out to her and I told her I would like to try some of your product just to see if this would work. And when I got them, originally that was just supposed to be a business transaction. So where I'm going to lean into all this in a second. And the next thing you know, one thing after led to another. 1 year together, and throughout that time, throughout all my difficulties, the arguments, the love, the disagreements, the whatever, she reminded me to find my voice, to give me the boost that I need to get up in the morning, that I am enough, that I am worthy. And throughout that journey that I just talked about, it's everything. The journey is really everything. Your destination, yeah, it's important, but
Mhm.
the journey is everything. So I take in finding that voice. I take everything that I do in the journey, whatever it is, little by little. And now I found it's interesting. I'm at this point. She is my destination. She is my everything. You know, I love you, Rosanna, and I hope you watch this and just
And I
know that
loved I
you
love that answer because that was one of the first thing my wife and I, now of almost 7 years, one of the first things she ever said to me when I knew she was the right one for me, was like, "I love that I can just be myself, my goofy self. I can, could put on a song in the car and just belt out and don't care what I sound like and what I look like." And when you find that person, you hold on to it, and it's just awesome to see. You mentioned 1 year where it'll be in 5 years from now, like her and myself never would have years ago never would have imagined where we are now. We're the children's pastors at our church. It's awesome. Never would have imagined that just 3 years ago, and it's just awesome to see where God takes us. And so I'm really encouraged
know.
by that, and really looking forward to seeing what is to come for Jerry Swirls. And so again, guys, before we sign off here, don't forget Thursday night. I know it's a Thursday. That's okay. We can go out on a Thursday. It'll be all right. Tickets
Thursday.
are good. Yes, Thursday night, September 26th. Tickets are going fast. You want to make sure you reach out and you get those tickets while you still can at the Space Coast Convention Center in Cocoa, Florida, not Cocoa Beach, Cocoa, Florida. You can't get those two
Yes.
confused. Those are two different places.
Derek
But
Bishop. Oh, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yes, right. But Jerry, thank you so much for
I'm sorry.
joining us tonight. I really, really appreciate the chat. I believe it's already been 45 minutes. It's awesome. But thank you so much, everyone watching. I see the comments. Just want to shout out 16 new subscribers since we went on the air. You guys have been a little quiet tonight, but 16 new subscribers just since we went on the air. So that's awesome. Thank you guys so very
Man, I
much.
got more than.
Yes,
Sorry, I
I
had to.
appreciate it.
Man, I got a
Yes,
pull. Woo!
yes, you did. That's right.
I got some
So thank
targeting
you so
people now.
much.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. So have a good night, everyone. And until next time, we'll see you around the ballpark.
Yeet.